Hi, it's Chris Wilkie with Bourbon Master, and what I want to do in this video is walk you through my experience at Moon Drops Distillery in Fortville, Indiana that I had about a week ago. So if you haven't checked it out, thebourbonmaster.com has my full article about my whole experience. But I want to give you kind of the brief notes that I have from kind of talking, because it's one thing to read it, it's another thing to hear it. So me and my father-in-law actually went up, we were going to go to Fox Garden to have an appetizer and an old-fashioned. And I said, hey, I saw on Facebook that Moon Drops Distilling is starting to open. They opened their tasting room last week. Let's stop and take a look at it. So that's what we did. So it's just, if you take, I think that's 38 that turns into 67, maybe it's 36. I need to look at a map, but it's the road that goes right through Fortville. You can take Pendleton and go to that. If you're coming from Pendleton, stop at Final Third Cigar Bar right there as well. But it's not very far out of the downtown Fortville area, so we stopped. Huge facility, so it looks massive from the outside. When we pulled in, we weren't 100% sure anybody was actually there. So it was like, okay, cool. So we walked in, and you could tell they were a distiller. They were actually actively making their peppermint moonshine. In the other room, I actually asked the lady what they were doing, and she said, yeah, that's the peppermint moonshine. So huge still. That was kind of a pot still format that was back there. You saw like a miniature column, like distillate or a condenser over there, but mostly it was a pot still. You can also see a lot of storage space, a lot of fermentation tanks. You could tell they were in production mode. And they had kind of this, I wouldn't say a small tasting room, but I wouldn't call it the largest one you've ever seen in your life. So when you walk in, you're going to see a bar, cement poured bar over to the left. You're going to see all their liquors over there. You're going to see a miniature gift shop. Then you're going to see some tables. You're going to see some comfy chairs. You're going to see a stage, and out the back door, you can see this huge kind of open field area, along with what I would call like a rick house or a rack house back there for storage. So that's kind of your initial look throughout it. The one thing I'll say that's kind of silly and stupid, they had that freaking picture that everybody has of the Prohibition being over. You'll know it when you see it when you walk in there. Otherwise, it's minimally decorated, more industrial feel, what you would expect from a brewery of brewery in that area, but this is kind of more a little upscale. So we'll put it that way. So we walked in and we got a menu. They gave us a menu of what they had. There was no prices on the menu, which I thought was a little strange. Not a bad thing. I mean, I guess if you can't afford it, why should you ever go and ask for it? But we found out the flights were $10. So that was going to get you 4 small pours of their different bourbons or cocktail or moonshines or vodka, rum. And we decided to do one to start. When you get it, it's in this nice little wooden flight thing that's going to have 3 sections. You're going to have 2 for chocolate, 1 for pretzels. And you're going to have your 4 pints or your flight glasses there. So the first time we had their Black Label, another one of their bourbons, the cask strength, and the rum would be the ones that we had there. Oh, and the vodka, I believe. No, we had just the rum, so it was the 4. First one was pretty good. I mean, I actually got our local Elks Lodge to carry that bottle. It runs about $40 in a liquor store. It's nothing that you're going to write off and say, this is the most outstanding bourbon in the world, but it's also very tasty. I think it needed to open up a little bit after I put it on the rocks. I think that I'm more of a rock drinker when it comes to that. So that's number 1. Number 2, the second one, I'll be 100% honest. I don't remember the difference between the 2. They kind of tasted the same. They were both good. I know there was something different about them, but it was minimal enough that I'm not sure I picked up on it. So I guess that's a good thing because of the consistency of the taste. Bad thing if you're selling it at a higher price. I probably couldn't have told the difference between the black and the other blended or small batch, whatever it was. The one I could immediately tell a difference with would have been the Barrel Select or the Barrel Proof. That was toasty, I'll give you that. I knew I was going to like it before I ever tried it, and I gave it a drink. I was like, wow, alcohol. And I backed off and tasted it. It had a lot of great flavors in there. You can read more about that in the blog, but I really, really like that. It actually makes me excited. I saw on Facebook today that they're doing a Distiller Select single barrel pick that they're going to release this Friday and Saturday only at the liquor store or only at the distillery. If it's as good as what that one was, it'd be great. So as I was talking and trying these, we actually asked the lady, which I'm pretty sure she's the tasting room manager, about these. And I said, are these your guys's or is these somebody else's? Did you source them? Found out they do source from MGP down in the Lawrenceburg area. So and they said they have their bourbon back in the Rick houses or the Rack House for about 2 years now. So they've got about 3 more years. She said they wouldn't bottle it until it was over 4 or 5 years old because they're distillers, not just people who are trying to put out liquor. They're true distillers, I think is what she said, which made me go, okay, cool. And I actually asked her, I said, do you think you're gonna have a problem matching up your tastes between this and what you're aging in your own? She goes, no, because it's the closest they could get to their own mash bill that they're doing with sourcing. So hopefully if everything fits right, what I'm tasting in these initial few should fill over to when they release their new stuff. So that's a good positive there. I'm still always a little skeptical of those young distilleries that have put something out and I kind of like it. When they switch over to their stuff, a little worried the quality won't be the same. Maybe better, but I always would hate if it got worse. So that's something just to consider in that ballpark. The rum, I'd drink that rum all the time. She said it had a different taste and it didn't have a burn at all. I think it was 80 proof and I had no idea it was that. I know my tongue had just been wrecked by a high ABV bourbon, but this was something else. It was just there. Loved it. It would be great in a cocktail. Then we had the vodka, the lemon drop moonshine, and the apple pie moonshine, along with another of the barrel select or the barrel proof, because obviously I like that one the best. So we got another flight. And the other flight, the vodka, I'm just not a vodka guy. I could sit here and tell you it was horrible vodka. The guy I was with, father-in-law, he's a vodka guy, not a fan. I'm not sure if we just don't like craft vodka. I'm not sure if it was just not in our profile. Maybe we got wrecked on other stuff. Wasn't tasty. Now, lemon drop moonshine, that's a troublemaker. You could drink that and not realize what you're drinking. I personally would recommend taking that and putting some vodka with it. Having a lemon drop martini or lemon shake up martini, muy importante. So I would definitely recommend doing that. The apple pie moonshine, that one, put in your golf bag, take it out when you need some birdie juice. You probably won't remember hole 18, but make sure you have somebody to drive you home. So that was delicious as well. And then the barrel proof that I had was obviously delicious because I already had it once and I liked it. So overall tasting room notes, not a lot of seating. I think you can maybe fit 30, 40 in there. You squished it. If there was a band, it would be loud. You could tell they focus on distribution. They said they were in Kroger. They said they were in some liquor stores in the area. They were more indie based, but kind of spreading out. I know if you're in town, they're the Elks 484 Lodge here in Newcastle. So I've got them pulled over this direction with apple pie and their initial black label bourbon and their lemon drop. So you got those. Outside, this is a beautiful day. It'd be beautiful to sit out there with a band. I think they have the property that's going to be really great for that. So I think you're going to have a problem getting in there during that time frame. They also had beer on tap. I think it was all Taxman, because Taxman is located just around that corner there, so it makes sense, very local. And they had some wine as well. And they had a whole list of cocktails. I did not get to try any of those because we were going to be driving and going a few other places, but I do know that there was quite a few on that list that sounded semi-entertaining or of interest to myself. They looked like they had no food. I'm very surprised there wasn't a kitchen in the facility as large as it looked. They did have a food truck outside, plenty of ample parking, so that was one thing. I didn't go pee, so I don't know how the bathrooms looked, but everything else looked pretty new there. And if you were gonna buy a bottle of booze, you couldn't put it on your same tab. You had to run things through twice to make sure you fit within Indiana laws. So that's my review of Moon Drops Distillery in Fortville, Indiana. If you've been and you have a different view, leave a comment below. If you like what I'm doing here, remember, I'm really focusing Indiana, Kentucky, things in this Midwest region here. So leave me a comment, tell me what you want. Make sure to check out the bourbonmaster.com and the Indiana Barrel Select Club on Patreon. So those are the things I want to tell you. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below. If not, subscribe and cheers. Have a great rest of the day.